Hi, everybody. Very good morning to all of you all from India. And it has been, thank you for showing an interest in advanced certified net zero practitioner. Uh, Today, we would be having an orientation session, plus we would be discussing all the topics that we are covering in this particular course. We would also have Dr. Vidinath Rangju, who would be joining us during the session, sharing more intricate details on the topic. I would take you all through all the topics and subjects that we are covering in this particular course. And let me start with the need for this particular course. Now, Masters in Net Zero is one of our flagship programs wherein we have level 1 and level 2, as well as we have thesis. In the Masters in Net Zero, we have certified Net Zero expert, which helps to build your fundamentals on decarbonization, GHG emissions, and the likes. Now, when you reach up to advanced, you need to know a little more. How do you integrate? How do you implement? These courses are this particular course is 3 months long. We avoid keeping it 1 day or 2 day because you would not be able to implement it then. Uh, Along with learning, we expect you all to implement and integrate the concepts that we would be teaching you all during the course in your company and have live experience and share it with us, whether you are able to implement, what issues do you face. So this 3 month long course would enable you to define what is net zero for your particular company, what are the existing compliances and regulations. I'm sure many of you all would be working in multinationals, and so every country has their own regulations. So we will be bringing in experts from those respective places, and we will be sharing, okay, what are the practices which go on over there. Apart from just building the strategy for net zero and defining it, how do you implement and how do you integrate these concepts? That is a very important aspect. And how would you do the monitoring and evaluation for this? So I'll just share with you all first I'll share with you all who are the faculties for this particular course. And then I'll share with you all what all topics we would be covering. So we have Dr. Vidinath Rangju. He's a founder of SustainEdge. He's also a well-known professor in ESG with us. We have Teresa Gomes. She's a senior climate specialist on Digital Opportunity Trust. As we know that AI is becoming more prevalent in all the integration across management. So we are also covering aspects of AI in our course. We have Mr. Alan Bonilla, who is the Director S&P on Sustainable Finance and Global Ratings. So we would be covering things on blended finance, green finance, blue finance during this course. We have Mr. Kishore. He would be covering topics on project management and LCA. We have Dr. Pradeep Kumar Rao. He's very well renowned in the space of real estate, and he will be covering on calculations aspect. Mr. Santosh Jairam, right now he's a professor, but he has worked extensively in the consulting firms and would be taking you all through what are the global regulations and where you all should be more concerned about, and what are the climate risks as well. And we have Dr. Himanshu Narula. Again, he comes from the expertise of carbon markets, carbon credits, and trading. Now, we'll take you all through the course content for this particular course. So the audience that we are expecting would be CXOs. They could be independent consultants, consulting firms, entrepreneurs, academicians, researchers. Um, Please avoid the dates over here. So we would be covering introduction to the systems thinking, I believe we have Dr. Vidyanath Rangju with us. Are you here, sir?
Yes, yes, Harsha, I'm here.
Per- Perfect. Would you like to take it forward from here?
Surely, surely.
Per-
Um,
per-
Hi, good morning, everyone. Sorry, I joined a bit late. Just to introduce myself once again, I'm not sure Harsha has introduced me or not. I'll do this introduction myself. My name is Vidyanath. You can call me Vidya in short. So I'm a sustainability professional for the last 16 years. So I've started way back in 2010, and since then I have been working in this domain. I have worked across different consulting organizations, and through consulting, I got an opportunity to work across various sectors, various industries, and various facets of sustainability and ESG. I majorly worked across sustainability and ESG strategy, reporting frameworks, GHG accounting, decarbonization strategies, environmental, social, and risk opportunities, risk management, and climate change, etc., and of course supply chain as well. So these are broader areas during our discussions in the course. So we'll be sharing our experiences in alignment with the course, right? This is where my introduction is, and again, a very warm welcome to ISCSR Advanced Net Zero Expert Program. It is very important that we must have heard about these terms, net zero, for quite some time in various conversations with your colleagues, your clients, customers, suppliers, right? So this is where we wanted to ensure our participants to understand the nitty-gritties of what net zero actually means, and we'll deep dive into it over the coming weeks. You'll be learning, discussing and applying, the important discussions that which is net zero. So net zero is not just a climate, ambition or a corporate pledge or a commitment. It is a business requirement. Okay, and a regulatory expectation indirectly, because certain nations do not have a specific regulatory requirement on becoming net zero. But yes, if you have looked at certain countries. Mandates. So countries have pledged to become net zero by a certain year. In India case, India has pledged to become net zero by 2070, right? So the expectation from government, regulatory authorities, investors has been exponentially increasing, and that has become a leadership responsibility in many of the organizations, right? So many companies today have announced or still announcing their net zero targets, but the real challenge is not making the announcement. The real challenge is understanding the baseline, building a credible roadmap, integrating certain decisions into business activities, financing the transition, implementation of various initiatives, right? Monitoring progresses, communicating, the progress with your stakeholders with credibility, right? So this is where the course, comes in. This program is designed to help you move beyond basic awareness and develop the ability to think, plan, and implement net zero related activities in a structured and in a practical manner. Okay, this is the overall understanding and context of this course, right? Now, if we deep dive into it, why this course matters, right? So across the world, businesses are facing, different types of pressures from different stakeholders, right? From regulators, investors, customers, supply chain partners, to disclose climate-related risks, emissions, demonstrate transition readiness, etc. Right. So terms like related to net zero, I'm talking about, you'll be learning into more detail. Net zero, decarbonization, climate neutrality, carbon markets, green finance, circular economy, carbon removal, carbon neutrality, transition planning, just transition, right? So these are different terminologies. maybe you can call it as jargons. So you'll by end of this course you'll be able to understand all these terminologies. Okay, and these are becoming a mainstream conversations in the organizations, right? uh, Even today most of the organizations have this net zero journey is very bits and pieces. It is still fragmented. It is not a structured way that companies are still implementing, right? So for an example, in an organization, one team may be working on energy efficiency related initiatives, and other team might be working on renewable energy, and other on ESG reporting, other on supply chain related emissions. Someone else is working on climate risk in one organization. But unless these activities are linked to a common strategy, the company cannot or may not achieve the meaningful progress, right? This course provides you with the integrated view of understanding definitions, connecting the dots between climate science, business strategy, regulations, finance, technology, implementation, and reporting, etc. By end of this program, the expectation from the participants, is that you should be able to look at the company, a project or any sector, so that you can ask the right questions. What are the emission sources? What are the major reduction opportunities? What standards and regulations that apply for the organizations? What role can circular economy play? Can AI and technology improve resource efficiency, etc., etc.? Okay, these are some questions. You can actually get the response for, right? Okay, so this is about the importance of this course and why it plays an important role, in your learning journey, right? This concept of this program, is to provide clear pathway to achieving net zero, and deep dive into the nitty-gritties of this, right? So the learning outcomes that you see from this course is basically, first thing is to define net zero clearly. This may sound very simple, but it is very important that net zero is often confused with carbon neutrality, carbon offset, renewable energy procurement, credible net zero pathway, right? These elements require deep emissions reduction across value chain with limited and credible removal of residual emissions. Okay, so second one is understanding climate related compliances and regulations. Third outcome is ability to build a net zero strategy, right? You'll be given a capstone project, and you'll have to work on it. It could be individual or it could be a group project. Fourth one is business integration. Net zero cannot sit in the sustainable department. It has to be linked to every function and department that exists in the organization: procurement, operations, finance, product design, logistics, HR, risk management, legal, leadership, decision making, etc. Right. Another outcome is understanding cost versus benefit analysis. Cost benefit analysis, you all know it. Okay, every decarbonization activity or initiative has a cost associated to it, but it will also help you to create savings, risk reduction, brand and reputation management, compliance readiness, etc. Right? And you'll be learning about how to identify and work with implementation partners such as energy auditors, renewable energy developers, technology providers, carbon market experts, etc. Right? So these are certain outcomes and learnings that you'll be learning in detail over the next 3-4 months, right? So the course flow, if we see, right? So I'll just spend some time in, not in detail, but just give you a sense of how the flow is, right? We'll start with the foundations first. Although this is, advanced net zero program, we'll start with the kickoff and foundations and basics, so that everybody is on the same page in their learning journey. Some of you might already have certain experience in net zero. Some of you are relatively new to the concept. So it is unfair to start directly into the topic. So let us set the foundations first. This will introduce the understanding, systems thinking in net zero and circular economy, align with learners through pre-course diagnostics. This is important because net zero is actually internal company internal systems problem. Okay, so that is where we set the context. And next area is basically a circular economy deep dive. Here we look into circular economy principles, business model redesign, and material flow analysis. Circular economy is highly relevant to net zero because reducing waste, extending product life, improving resource efficiency, and redesigning materials can significantly reduce those emissions, right? Third one is technology integration, AI for sustainability and circularity, and this is the currently going on the practical scenarios as well. You must have heard about a lot of AI awareness among different people, and different digital tools that can support predictive analysis, resource optimization, waste management, supply chain intelligence, and decision making. The focus would be on how technology can support sustainability outcomes. We not be getting into coding how to do it, etc. We want to understand the essence of how it can be done, and what are the benefits that we can take, right? And followed by next module. Harsha, next slide if you want. Next one is carbon removal and advanced decarbonization. The course looks, this module, we talk about direct air capture, nature-based solutions. Here we will try to understand how, difference between reducing emissions, avoiding emissions, removing carbon, and carbon offsetting. Not everything is same. There are minor differences, and the credibility of those things also matters, right?
Sir, I
um,
think second and third para, the August and September, it is a typo mistake like this. 28th June to 4th July and 5th July to 11th July. The
oh,
second
Yes,
and
okay,
third,
I
maybe
understand.
typo
September.
mistakes. Say
I understand.
September,
I
August,
understand.
September, or like this. Okay, okay, sir.
So
Yeah,
those are
carry on.
human errors. It's quite possible. We'll get it rectified, and thank you for pointing it out. Right, your name Samiran.
Samiran Sinha Rai, I am CHRO NEPCO,
Okay.
Executive Director in NTPC HR.
Okay, great. Thank you for
Thank you,
pointing it
sir.
out.
Thank
Yeah. Okay, and next module is on the financial element, green finance and nature-based solutions. Net zero activities requires a lot of investments. Many organizations have plans, but struggle with financing. In any organization, you see the common excuse that we hear is budget constraints. Don't tell me nobody has heard it. Everybody must have heard it. So that is the biggest struggle, and this module will help participants better understand what is blended finance, ESG linked bonds, monitoring, reporting, and verification frameworks, MRV frameworks, and investment strategies for net zero. Next one is your blockchain. Again, another a tech specific element. This module introduces the role of blockchain, Internet of Things, and digital traceability in improving transparency, material tracking, and carbon credit systems. Right, traceability is becoming increasingly important in supply chains and carbon markets. Okay, and also next module, you'll also see, um, next slide, Harsha. Behavioral change and just transition as well, right? So this is very you can consider this as an underdog. Okay, this is often underestimated. Next slide. Yeah, this is underestimated thing. It is net zero when we talk about. People think it is technical, but majorly it is a behavioral and social element, right? That is basically your mindset. If you have fixed something in your mind, that has to be applied, right? So the behavioral change is something which is more important, and that plays a major role in getting things done in the organization. So companies, the employees, suppliers, customers, communities, they participate, they engage in the overall net zero program of the organization. And this just transition also ensures that climate action does not ignore the social element, like people, livelihoods, etc. Right. So another one is on policies, standards, and implementation roadmaps. This will focus on scenario planning, policy trends, future readiness. This will help participants think beyond present compliance and develop forward-looking roadmaps, right? So, how you devise a strategy and implementation roadmap is something you'll be learning, and along with the regulatory requirements, right? And this is towards the end of the course, maybe 1 month before. So we'll be, giving you a project. We call it as capstone, project, right? So where the learning, that comes together, whatever you have learned in different modules, participants will apply those concepts across modules, receive your internal feedback across different participants, and you develop a strategic outline for review. So there is a jury who does the review of your work, and then it would be given, appropriate feedback would be given. Okay. And there is one another element which we talk about, global regulations and carbon markets on climate governance. This will cover international frameworks, such as Paris Agreement, Article 6 of Paris Agreement, compliance markets, carbon markets, carbon pricing instruments, etc. And there's a huge list of regulatory requirements or terminologies. Don't fall into the trap now. You'll be learning these terminologies during the course. That will help you, clear what this actually means, right? And so this is all about the whole course structure and what you'll be learning, in your course in the upcoming months. Okay. And maybe I can hand it over to Harsha to talk more about the certifications, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you so much for sharing this, Vidya. Really appreciate it. So all throughout the course, as you see that each session is different, and we would be honoring you with 12 certificates throughout the course, in addition to advanced net zero course. So in every 2 day, you would be able to download different the topics that you're covering for different course content from the faculty member. And this is a sample certificate that we are showing. Now we are accredited across in India, Europe, and US. Our certificates are very well accepted across. And the duration will be mentioned. The certificate can also be scanned and QR code and can be tracked back. So from anywhere, if they want to check, they will be able to check it. Now, I have already gone through the expert faculties that we have. We have developed the course in association and under the advisory of industry practitioners. And these are some of the clients that we have already catered to. And yeah, I'm sure you may also want to know about testimonials. So most of the testimonials are present on our website, and I can share that as well with you all. On the fees aspect, we do have Achila scholarship for this particular course. And in case if you are interested to gain the scholarship, you can send in your CV to info@iicsr.com, or we have a WhatsApp number 798-211-2389. We also encourage if someone wants to do part payment, we do have that facility as well. Would there be any questions that we can address? All right. Thank you, Vidya, for joining, and Mr. Durgesh, Soni, Gayatri, Harisadan, Hina, Praveen, Rajendra, Samiran, Shiva, and Vinod. Thank you so much for joining us on Sunday morning. Have a great weekend.
Thank you very much, Harsha. Thank you everyone for joining for the orientation. Before we sign off, just 2 minutes. Do you have any questions or clarifications that you want to clarify it before we begin the course? Happy to address those.
Thank you.